what was it like when you got the news that, hey, Korean War is going on, you're drafted, or you're out of reserves?
Yeah. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Really?
And you're young.
Yeah, 20.
That's ridiculous.
We're 20 years old.
I say this to you all the time. I could not imagine myself. I'm 21 going to war.
Yeah.
That must have been shaking my boots.
Yeah, well, it was, it wasn't something we looked forward to.
Yeah, no.
You know, the training was okay because we were athletes, so we were physically in great shape. You know, so that part was piece cake for, you know, when I went on active duty, I was 20 years old, 6 foot tall, 130 pounds.
Oh, that's so light.
130
Yeah.
28-inch waist.
Yeah.
Now it's 38.
Yeah.
Or maybe 40.
Yeah, expand a little bit.
Right. So it wasn't hard for us to adapt to the physical part of the training.
So they activated you, and then did they send you somewhere to train?
Yeah.
Before?
Yeah. There were 320 of us in Evansville in the reserve unit. They took us to Camp Pendleton and outside of San Diego, California. Some of the guys were World War II vets, so they put them on planes and flew them right to Korea.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, you know, and some of them had soft desk jobs, and now they're sitting in a foxhole.
Yeah.
So
What's a foxhole?
Foxhole, you dig a hole in the ground, so
Okay.
when they're shooting at you can get your head down.
Jeez.
So maybe 4 feet deep,
Yeah.
you know, by enough room for 2 guys to get in it and with your stuff, you know.
So how long did you train for before you went out to Korea?
30 days,
30 days.
which was crazy.
Whoa.
You know, if you go through Marine Corps boot camp, it's 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And physical training plus discipline, because
What was that like?
that's what the Marines are all about, discipline. So
What did they do for that?
they bow breach.
What is that? Bow breach.
They make you feel like an inferior person.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they break you down to build you up, to think you're invincible.
Yeah. Did it work?
Well, I never went through that, but it did. It did work. You know, it gave all the Marines the confidence that they could do anything.
That's awesome.
So,
I mean, you kind of need to if you're going to fight like that.
Well, one thing about the Marines, you knew you could trust the guy next to you because he was dependent on you. You were dependent on him. The Army didn't have that same feel. You know, the Marines had that esprit de corps. Attitude. And,
So how do you think they got that?
From the basic training.
Really?
Yeah, called it boot camp.
So
But since we didn't have boot camp, we were looked down on by the regular Marines that went through that. So I guess there were maybe 3,000 guys that served that never went through boot camp.
You're one of them?
I'm one of them. So I'm special.
yes.
A special Marine.
Yeah.
And when I tell the other Marines that went through boot camp and everything that I didn't go to, well, you're not a Marine.
But so what was the difference between a Marine and the Army? Like, because I don't know too much about the different sectors of the military. Like the Navy, I get boats.
Right.
Airplanes.
Well, Marines, they use the Marines for amphibious landings.
Amphibious landings.
Right.
What is?
So when you're on a troop ship with say 3,000 guys, they have these Amtraks, amphibious landing tractors.
Okay.
That crawl down a net on the side of the boat and drop into this Amtrak, and it takes you to shore, and the front of it drops down. So normally, given the terrain, as you approach the beach, they can get you right up onto shore so you don't get wet. But sometimes it'd be too shallow, and when you jump off, you're in waist-deep water.
Oh, jeez.
But that was what they used the Marines for, was the amphibious landings. Army wasn't really, most of them weren't trained for that. So all through the Pacific and World War II, they used the Marines to do the landings.
They used those in D-Day, right? Those are the ones that went up on the beach.
D-Day was mostly
dropped.
Army.
Okay. But, so you trained for 30 days, and then you got, I'm assuming they flew you over, right? They didn't make
No.
You took a boat?
Yeah, 13 days.
Oh, my gosh.
So we went from San Diego. I'm not sure how many were on this big ship, but it was a converted American luxury liner. It wasn't so luxury.
Yeah.
We were staying. 4 or 5 guys on top of each other in bunk beds.
Gosh.
You know, so you crawl up until if you're on the top bunk.
Yeah.
Step on the other guys on the way up.
For 13 days.
So we went to. We landed in Yokosuka, Japan, which is right below Tokyo, and then took a train down to Osaka, and there was a Army base there. I think I forget who it was, but we stayed there for 2 weeks because the rest of the Marines were out on shipboard to make the Wonsan landing, and they didn't know how to put us on board the ships. There's just no way they could organize putting reserves replacement into the other group. So they waited. They made the landing, and then we went in the next day, and were assigned to the outfits that we were going to.
So what do they tell you during all this? Do they tell you why you're fighting? Or they're just like, you're going here.
Yeah, you're going here.
They don't give you any of the background.
You were there because the North Koreans had overrun the South Koreans. We were there to rectify the situation.
Yeah. So what was your first phone? You guys are so popular here.
Oh, yeah. Spam calls.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty much the only people that call our home phone now, too. But so you got sent out. What was your first mission, or what were you doing?
Well, when I landed, I was with 2 guys I grew up with, my 2 best friends, and they lined us up in the morning once we landed there, and said, "All right, Al, you're Able Company, 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. Gordon, you're Charlie Company, and Bill, you're in combat service." And I said to my buddies, "Oh, my God, combat service, that don't sound so good." Well, fortunately, they were the guys in those foxholes.
Oh, jeez.
And I was the guy behind making sure they had food and the equipment. So
what was your role?
Out.
Like you just brought them food?
Supply, yeah.
Okay.
Supply. When we went into the Wonsan, we were only there like a week. And then we made another landing. Or no, the guys were moving inland. And so they moved all the supply guys up to Hungnam. And we had a big warehouse there. And all the stuff was coming in. But I was working like a 12-hour shift, loading boxcars with 155 howitzer shells. So going up by train close to the lines, and then they would take them off there and truck them into the guns.
Jeez.
So, and they weighed like 75 pounds.
Did you gain some weight?
Pardon?
Did you gain some weight from doing all this lifting? From your 130?
Yeah. Well, in the basic training, where guys were dying and losing weight because of the exercise, I gained 20 pounds. All muscle.
Yes.
All muscle.
Oh, my gosh. So the Korean War, from what I remember from a history class, is it went up, South Korea, like we helped up, and then it came back down, like the border. Well, I'm trying to remember the movement of the war. So how long were you in Korea for?
15 months.
15 months.
Right.
So were you doing the same thing throughout the entire time?
Well, when I first got there in Wonsan, we were getting supplies together and shipping them by truck to the lines because they weren't too far away. And then we moved up to Hungnam, and that's when I was, throwing the 75-pound boxes of shells on the freight trains, taking them up because we're a little further up. And I guess it was 60 miles from, something like 60 miles from Hungnam up to the Chinese border where the Chosin Reservoir was. And that was the big battle of, and it was 32 below zero. So the weapons would freeze up.
Yeah.
You had to keep moving the bolt on your M1 because it was vapor ejected, and the vapor would freeze because there was moisture there.
Yeah. So you must have been...
But I was not in that situation.
In the fighting?
No. I
never?
Never.
That's good.
No. My closest getting shot at was I was loading airplanes to drop in the food and ammunition, medical supplies and stuff. So I asked the corpsman or the airman, how long does it take you to get up there and back? And he said 15 minutes. I said, wow. It's pretty close. He said, yeah. I said, they won't miss me in 15 minutes. I've never flown. Could I go with you?
Yeah.
And he said, let me ask the captain if you wait, it would make a difference. And he came back and said, no, he said you could go. And I said, by the way, why you have all the holes in the bottom of this airplane? What are they for?
Yeah.
He said, what are they for? He said, the Chinese want this stuff too,
Oh, my God.
So we go in low to make sure we give it to our guys, to drop it to our guys, and they shoot at us.
Yeah.
I said, I'll see you when you get back. So that was as close to I got shot at.
Yeah. That must have been scary. What were you feeling during all of this?
You're young and you're just doing your job. You think and we were pretty safe.
Yeah.
They really didn't have an Air Force, so we didn't have to worry about airplanes coming in and strafing us.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have some, and the guys in the foxholes had to worry about it, but for some reason they never came to us.
That's good.
Which was crazy.
Yeah.
That's a place to go.
Yeah, right? Why would you go to the supply?
And
blow up that, and then everyone else is done.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So how long was it below 30 degrees?
Well, let's see. We got there in October, and it started getting cold around Thanksgiving, and they said that in history that was the coldest winter
Really?
they had and have had for a long time.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks, a month, something like that.
That's terrible.
So we had special insulated boots, but the troops that had these boots on, and you were marching or walking to your next destination because they couldn't have trucks to get everybody to move. Your feet would sweat because they were rubber bottoms with leather tops, and your feet would sweat. And if you didn't take off your shoes and change your socks, and you stopped for a while, your feet would freeze.
Jeez.
And a lot of guys lost their feet. Had to get them amputated from being frostbitten.
Do they send you home after that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of guys that were evacuated because of frostbite, frozen feet.
That's a terrible thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It at times I couldn't feel my feet.
Yeah.
But fortunately, not to the degree that
some other people.
Yeah, because they slept in their sleeping bags out in 30 degrees.
Yeah. So